What up, Dynasty players in the house? It's the Dynasty front office, part of the Dynasty Warzone Network. Please like and subscribe. I'm your host, Jesse Schneeman. I'm here tonight with my two co-hosts, the auspicious Austin Bell. How you doing tonight, Austin?
Pretty good, man. Early in the week tonight. It's Tuesday. It feels crazy, but I'm good, man. Combine's coming up. If you're listening, Combine's probably going on, but we're ready to go.
Yeah, pre-combine special. And my main man, Chad
Who?
Mendoza. Combine Joza is what I was gonna say. How you doing tonight, Chad?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Glad to be here. Talk some off-season nonsense and just keep waiting for the season to start.
Yeah, at least draft season. I mean, it's still a little early.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
All right. So tonight we're going to do our player profiles of the week, the rookie profiles, but we're going to do 3 of them. We're ramping up our game. Might even do a 4th if I can convince you guys. And then maybe a couple free agent running backs. I feel like we need to finish off the conversation. I'm just going to put a damper on it right from the start. I don't think any of these guys are relevant with the quality of the class that we have coming out.
Yeah, I think we'll end up having a couple be relevant, but it won't be who we're expecting, and they'll get shot into roles that we weren't projecting. But yeah, overall, it's a pretty down class with this freshman or rookie class coming in.
Like Singletary 2 years ago.
Yeah, something like this. Something's going to surprise us.
Yeah, hell, I mean, Ramondre Stevenson could return to form.
Yeah.
They had if they work on their offensive line, that kind of stuff. All right, so who we got first, Austin? Who's our first?
We're gonna start with the quarterback tonight and go Shedeur Sanders from the University of Colorado. He is 23 years old, 6'2", 215 pounds. Played 2 years at Jackson State and the last 2 years at Colorado. Had over 4,100 yards this year and 37 touchdowns. Not much of a rushing floor. Not really any rushing floor. Finished negative yards 3 out of 4 years in college, and but super accurate. His pocket awareness is odd. It's good, but he doesn't move. I don't know. I'll let somebody else. It's odd, but like I said, not really mobile, but very accurate. Not a huge arm, but sufficient for the NFL. I'm not a huge fan, but I'll let y'all keep going.
All right. Well, since Mike's not here to give us the official pronunciation, I'm free to call him Shitter Sanders. Is that right?
Ooh. No. Not in public. Maybe off the pod.
All right. Chad, what do you think of Deion's son?
Yeah, so I think there's definitely a lot of, kind of pros and cons with him. And I think you'll see that just in how divisive he is across the board with a lot of people. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan. I could definitely see him being successful. One thing that I do like about him is his confidence and how he can really push the ball and get the ball down the field as far as just his daringness to make plays. But yeah, there's just some things that I'm not really a fan of. I know Austin mentioned his pocket presence. To me, he's a guy that when I see he gets pressured, a lot of times it feels like he's retreating a lot. He's giving up space, and that's something that I don't really like. It's fun to see quarterbacks that are a little bit more confident when they get that pressure and they can find space. They can make space within their line, either by stepping up or being able to read their blocks better. But it just an interesting player. I'm not sure how he's going to adapt to the NFL, but it's going to be fun to watch. That's definitely for sure.
Unless you've got the running ability of, say, Lamar or Kyler, I don't want to see you go backwards. It scares me. I don't even want to see Hurts go backwards because he's not nimble enough. He's not that type of rushing quarterback. It scares the shit out of me. And he takes a lot of sacks. is that I think the negatives are really scary with him. My number one question is, what's the ceiling with Shador? Is it like Tua?
I mean, the ceiling is Joe Burrow, but the percentage of that is like very, very. He's not nearly as polished, but they are similar style quarterbacks in how they play the game. I just don't think he's as good.
What were you gonna say, John?
I was gonna say ceiling for me is probably CJ Stroud.
I don't think he's got the zip Stroud has, but I understand what you're saying.
I don't think he has the arm strength of either one of those guys.
Oh, I think him and Burrows are really similar, to be honest.
Burrow's so elite at picking up the blitz and punishing you for it. That's where he kills you. You know, the pre-snap kind of stuff, which Shador does seem like a pretty smart processor, and I think he could get there. It's the bad habits.
Well, one thing I'm going to defend him on is his O-line was absolutely terrible both years at Colorado. I mean, just absolutely atrocious. So, like, I'm not a fan, but I gotta see. I want to see him behind, hopefully, a competent O-line to see that change, and if it can, because I feel like a lot of the knocks we do have on him, hopefully, which hope is a big hope, that it's because of this O-line.
Well, and I think also like in the NFL, if they get him into an offense, you remember when Dak made that the adaptation from kind of that drop back, sit and read the game quarterback to really just kind of delivering the ball and getting the ball out of his hands really quickly. I think if they kind of make that transition with Shador Sanders, where they're just like, hey, this guy's a rhythm kind of tempo passer. We just need him to get the ball out of his hands, and that's what they're gonna use him for. I think he's gonna be successful. I do, but there's just so many question marks as far as where he's gonna go and what they're gonna expect out of him.
What's the chance we get another Mac Jones, Kenny Pickett?
Well, Mac was really good his rookie year, but I mean, in this class, the chances are huge, in my opinion, that we're going to get somebody overdrafted that doesn't live up to what they hoped he was going to be.
I think Shador is I don't think Shador is a good athlete, but he's a better athlete than like Mac Jones. He's going to be able to he's going to be able to get away from defenders and move around, but he's just not Cam Ward.
Yeah.
And that's not even like a big compliment. Like, it's not like Cam Ward's really a big agility player either. It's just Shador is a pocket passer.
Yeah.
That's what makes me so disappointed in this class in particular, is that there's a lack of a rushing.
Shoot, there's the ultimate rushing guy. The ultimate rusher, Jalen Milroe.
Oh, well, I mean, out of the realistic guys.
He's about to test absurd numbers, and so he's going to go up. All of the people's mock drafts are going to have him in the first. It's going to be crazy.
You think?
Oh yeah, I think he could legit test 4.3 speed.
I think people are going to be surprised by Cam Ward, to be honest with you, as far as like his rushing ability.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think he's better than Shador. I think.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I mean, no, Cam Ward is a great athlete. He's a great athlete.
Yeah, the difference between the two, it's surprising after watching the two of them that Shador is considered the number one quarterback in this class at all.
But I think it's just ESPN. I've every time I go to lunch, they're talking about him. But if you go into any of these other ones, that they're not acting like he's the first. It's like Cam Ward and then somebody else.
Yeah, at this point, I think now that people have dug in and really looked at it,
yeah,
I'd be embarrassed not to say that.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan. Probably won't have any or many shares if it's a top 5 pick expected for him in rookie drafts.
I think there's a good chance he goes to Cleveland.
I think Cam Ward goes there.
Oh, you don't think Tennessee's going to take him? Yeah.
Shador to the Jets would be one of the more desirable places.
Who's their offensive coordinator?
I don't know. I meant more of the talent around them,
Oh,
the
talent
roster.
around him.
Yeah.
Aaron Glenn will bring a good culture. I want to see
Yep.
him go to the right offensive coordinator, to be honest with you. I think Tennessee would be Tennessee for either one of these guys would be a little bit of a disaster. I have a problem with Brian Callahan. If he's not coaching Joe Burrow, I don't think he's all that good, to be honest with you. So, yeah, there's a lot of really rough landing spots for these guys. Either one of them could go to the Raiders, I guess. I mean, Shador to the Raiders seems pretty realistic. The Jets have already said that they're probably going to go with Tyrod.
I
that's
think
not
like
gonna happen.
it's kind of interesting. I think a lot of people are downplaying just how intriguing this draft's going to be as far as landing spots. It's so up in the air for me.
It's everywhere. Everything is everything.
Yeah.
Really no like can't miss blue chippers in this draft.
Nope. I saw Schefter saying that they asked him, like, what is one thing you feel positive about in this draft? And he was like, there aren't many things at all, but if I had to pick one, it's that the Browns will take a quarterback, and I have no idea who that is.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw him. He said it's just common sense. They have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The OC for the Jets is Tanner Engstrand. I don't know who that is. He worked with the Lions for the past couple years.
Okay. So would have been Johnson's coaches.
Yeah, we don't really know much else about him, but I'm assuming Glenn trusts him if that's who he's going to pick for his first OC.
Yeah, it really tells us nothing,
Nope.
to be honest with you, because it's
Not at
not
all.
like there's a Ben Johnson offense or anything.
Yeah, not at all.
So is there where would you want him to go, Shador? What do you think the best landing spot for him is?
The Jets would be my pick of
Jets.
realistic options.
Ugh, God, when you say the Jets is the best landing spot for a guy, he's doomed. Chad, do you have an answer for that?
It's tough. There's so many places that a player like Shador could go. Yeah, I mean the Jets wouldn't be bad.
Maybe New Orleans.
Yeah, that could be really interesting.
Kellen Moore. I mean, they have a terrible roster. Is the bigger problem, but
yeah,
Kellen Moore's a good coach,
but he wouldn't have to start year one with Carr still being there. Carr's likely going to be there another year.
Yeah, it's a putrid offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, it's a putrid roster outside of like for what we care about with Kamara and Olave and
Kamara, Olave, and Rashid. Yeah, I mean the weapons are decent.
What about? I don't think he'll make it this far, but what if he went to Dallas?
I mean, that's exactly what they would love. The NFL would love that. But
yeah.
I was actually thinking, if I were to pick any team, I'd love him to fall to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, isn't Pittsburgh like
21?
Real late?
Oh yeah.
I'm looking at the order now. That's why I was scrolling.
Yeah, unless they trade up or something, but
yeah, I don't think it's realistic. Although he could slide. A lot of quarterbacks have slid to the first round. Lamar and Rodgers. It could absolutely happen.
What does Dallas pick? Like 10?
12.
12, yeah.
Even that's kind of like...
Yeah, but they could easily trade up with like a New Orleans, for instance, or a Carolina at 8. Like I could absolutely see Carolina wanting to move back. Could see Vegas wanting to move back to 6 from 6 if so there's going to be plenty of options for them to maneuver around.
Dallas needs to take a weapon.
It'll be interesting with the top 3. I mean, realistically, somebody's leaving there without a quarterback in that top 3. As things stand right now, you never know. As we approach draft time, we've seen crazier things happen, but as of right now, it looks like somebody in that top 3 is leaving without one.
You think the Giants will take a quarterback?
Do I think it's? Yeah, I think it's definitely realistic that they'd take one.
Yeah, a lot. I guess a lot is going to depend on what happens in free agency. I guess the
Even
narrative.
even if they get Stafford, I still think it's realistic that they pick one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, he's what, like 38 or something? How old is he?
Yeah,
I think
right
he's
around there.
34.
30. Nah, I think he's older than that.
The narrative, I guess, is that they will and
He's 37.
30. Yeah, just turned it.
37. Okay, and Joe Schoen both need to save their jobs with a veteran quarterback. I mean, if you're going to do that, you probably go in all in on improving your roster.
I mean, I would rather,
Love a
if they're
quarterback.
going to do that, yeah, I would rather spend a second or third on one of these other guys.
I mean, I would rather them take a quarterback and just because I mean, realistically, if Stafford works out, they're I mean, not going to be in a position to get a quarterback. He's 37. Like,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
true.
and we're just going to be in the same situation we're in right now. If it doesn't work out, then we have a 37-year-old quarterback, and we're still in the situation we're in now. So,
Yeah.
That's fair.
Unfortunately, your GM and coach aren't thinking of it from a fan standpoint or for what's best for the team next year, just this coming year.
I think Shane is Joe Shane. I really do think he is. I think he's going to be looking at it from a long-term perspective. That's one thing I will give him is he's been that way since he's got here. And Mara, if there's one thing that we know about the ownership of the Giants, they give GMs way more slack than he should. So
All right. Well, for your
GMs
sake, I hope
outlive
so.
coaches here with the Giants. That's something that's been there for since previous ownership or his father was here.
Right. Yeah, for your sake, I hope so. I don't know. I'd probably just sign Jameis and punt till next year if I were you.
Yeah, that's what I would do too. Just sign Jameis, but
All right.
I just want to
let's
see Jameis with Malik. All right. Yeah. Who do we got next, Austin?
Next, we have a lot of people's wide receiver 2 and Luther Burden the third. Spent all 3 of his years at Missouri. Kind of a down year this year. Not really kind of. Was a down year this year. 61 catches for 676 yards and 6 touchdowns. The offensive play was atrocious. Like it was worse than most high school football, if we're going to be honest. So a lot of his positive tape was in 2023, where he had 86 receptions for 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns. The dude's electric. Get the ball in his hand, get him in space, and let him work. He was a top. I think he was the number 1 receiver in his high school class, if I'm not mistaken. And before this year, he was most people's wide receiver 1 coming into this class for rookies. So he's 21 years old, 6'1", 195. Guy I really like, but the tape this year is honestly pretty nasty.
Chad, what do you think?
Yeah, he's my wide receiver 3. I like him. Like Austin was saying, I struggle. It's always tough when guys don't live up to expectations their final year. And of course, there's plenty of blame to go around there. But yeah, he didn't really do much for himself, did he? The one thing that I do like about his game, or my favorite thing about his game, is just like the ability at his size to really get in there and get the ball. That's one thing I've always really loved about him. Yeah, I guess one pro, one con. One thing that I really have question marks on is going to be what he's asked to do in the NFL. Like, is he going to be predominantly a slot wide receiver? Is he going to be a guy that's asked to do everything? Because I don't know that he's going to be able to do everything, or I don't know that he's shown that that he's proven he can do everything. I'm not going to say he can't, but it'll be interesting to see, how his game translates to the NFL for me.
Yeah, well said. I agree. I love this guy. Once the ball's in his hand, he's got moves like Jagger. So I kept singing to myself while I was watching this. I went back to his 23 tape because it's so much more fun. But I think he didn't lose anything as a football player, or any of his traits or attributes. in 24. Their team was just a damn mess.
Ooh, it was bad.
It was so hard to watch. It's kind of why I went back to 23 just to see what he was really like in a functional offense. It is what I agree a lot with what Chad said. To steal a line from Austin, I agree with Chad. I think it's gonna like the dream scenario is that he goes late in the first round to say the Redskins.
The who?
Commanders. I didn't even do that on purpose. Then he goes to Washington because you've already got a guy outside to play that solid X draw coverage. And they'll probably bring Ertz back, and you have a combination of Ertz and maybe Sinnott stepping up. A good solid run game with that quarterback. He could be moved around. I think he'd be really good in a Kingsbury offense. And if they're spending a first round pick, then it shows, you have the draft capital, protection. And I just think he'd be really good in an offense like that where he can move around, play slot, flanker, get the ball in his hands quickly and see what he can do. There's other offenses like Patriots would be really good too. But at that point he would be like falling to the second round, which I'm still all right at the top of the second round. I'd be fine.
Yeah, he won't make it that far.
But
he's going to test too well.
Yeah, right, exactly. He is electric. Like I said, he's got moves once he's got the ball in his hands. So I really like him. He's just got to be used correctly. Again, if he goes to if he goes to the wrong offense, I hate to keep picking on Brian Callahan, but it would be ugly in Tennessee. In my opinion.
Yeah, Jacksonville's place that I would really like him in.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be really good too.
Yeah, the Falcons would work. Tampa would work.
Falcons already have Mooney.
Yeah, that's fine, but this allows him to play his role of whatever they want him to be. Mooney can be just a deep threat. You can let Burden play in between London and Mooney. I mean, Pitts isn't going to be anything, so it's not like they don't have targets.
I was about to say that would pretty much spell the end of Pitts.
Am I the only one here that's more excited for him as an NFL player than as a fantasy player?
Who, Burden?
I'm like, yeah, Burden. Like
yes, because I have question marks about his volume and whether he can be consistent in the mid and deep areas of the field. Like, can he really get open 20, make 20, 30-yard plays? I don't, you know what I mean? Down the field. Yeah, that's my question with him. So if everything is short, how many Rashee Rices are there in the NFL?
He's a pretty crazy athlete. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to watch him. Really, really fun to watch him. And I think he's a really talented player. I just think he's got so much more development that hopefully he really he comes out and is able to really match the talent level with a level of skill that's up there with the elite wide receivers. I just don't see it yet. He's not one of those guys where I watch him and I'm like, man, this is a really skillful player. He just looks like a crazy talented player. Which I mean, you can't downplay that, right? Because that's something that can't be developed. But it's gonna be interesting to see where he goes and how he's used.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he has to be put in the hands of a coach that can harness his athleticism, his speed, and use it the right way, rather than asking him to do things that he's just not prepared to do right now. So we'll see who that is.
It would be.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What if he was used like Jaden Reed?
Yeah, perfect. That is a great usage for him. That would be really good. But Packers have a very
consistent. Yeah, consistent.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's going to be a problem with Luther Burden. I think is that finding consistency with him throughout his career is going to be a problem.
Yeah, I think he's going to develop. As Chad said, he's so talented, man. It's just like oozing out of him. The offense was so bad. I really wanted him to transfer after last year, but I also kind of like that he stuck around. That kind of tells me something about the person.
Yeah, it shows good character, that's for sure. I like when guys stay.
So, he could have gone to any school he wanted last year and dominated and honestly probably put himself in the top 5 pick conversation in this class. He has that much talent. So I'm a little less worried as long as he just doesn't go to a bottom off like a boring offense.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to see that. But as long as he goes somewhere that has a decently creative offensive mind, the dude's gonna be electric. Just give him the ball.
Yeah. Agreed. All right.
Now to the complete opposite end of the spectrum, Emeka Ibuka, true senior from Ohio State, spent all 4 years at Ohio State. Actually owns the Ohio State receiving record for yards, which is pretty crazy thinking about the receivers that were there. Last year went for 81 receptions for 1,011 yards and 10 touchdowns. He's NFL ready, just a pure receiver. It's not going to wow you with electric plays, going crazy, but he's going to get open and he's going to catch the ball. By the way, 6'1", 203, and 22 years old. I'll let y'all take it on.
Chad, what do you think about Ibuka? Is this your wide receiver too?
No.
Oh.
No. Yeah, but I do like him. So Ibuka, he's kind of like Ibuka's kind of boring. Like he's just good.
He really
he's
is.
really good though. He's really
he's just good. Yeah, he's just good.
He's just been around for so long. I think we're a little bored.
Yeah. No, he's one of those guys that like I was mentioning with Burden, where he's maybe not the most skilled player in the world. Ibuka, I mean, he's skilled. It's going to be fun to see him come straight out of the NFL or come straight into the NFL and look like he belongs, because I think he's going to be one of those guys.
Yep.
I think he's going to step in and be a starting slot wide receiver day one for a team.
Yep. Yeah.
So then that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So
yeah, and he can play flanker as well, no problem at all. He can be moved around quite a bit. They moved him around. I like Ibuka a lot. This might y'all might think I'm crazy, but he reminds me of Cooper Kupp.
He moves like him. I don't have a problem with that.
He looks like him out there. He's got the hands. He's a dirty work guy, just team first kind of guy. I think early Cooper Kupp is a very reasonable thing to expect out of Ibuka early. And now, if he gets in a perfect situation like Cooper Kupp did a couple years into his career and goes nuclear, like if the Rams draft him, then I'm really excited.
My the one guy that, and maybe it's just a little bit of a bias in my head from watching this player for so many years, but one guy that I kind of see a little bit in his game is Sterling Shepard. And I think that's kind of who he's going to be in the NFL, is just a reliable guy who's going to do everything you ask him to do. He's going to be a coach's favorite, and I think he's going to be around for a long time. So I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, Sterling Shepard was a really good, solid player. It's a shame he just was never able to stay healthy.
Yeah, injuries, and there might be something to be said for that for Ibuka as well. A little bit of injury concern there with him. So
yeah, that is true. Is there anywhere you don't want him? Like, is there offense? Obviously, mine is somewhere like some that has three places, but well, we're gonna say that for every offensive player. But is there a system you don't want to see him in, or you just think he's pretty much offensive proof and should give you some kind of production?
I think he's system proof. I think he's one that everybody's gonna want and anybody can use. He's just a good all around player. And I think it helps that he's so willing to get dirty and make the blocks and get into things. I think he's going to be a guy that a coach wants on the field every play if possible.
Yeah, there's a fit that I don't like for fantasy that I think is really good for the NFL, and that would be the Steelers.
Yeah, I don't know if he's boneheaded enough for them to take him, but he absolutely would fit really well.
Fits Steelers culture perfect. He doesn't fit Steelers wide receiver culture.
Yeah.
But it would not. I don't like it for fantasy.
Yeah. I am a little worried we don't see a ton of fantasy production early on, but I think the NFL production is going to be there instantly. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it'll be enough for us to see. But it could also we could see a Lad McConkey type season, where as it goes, he just more and more targets just demands him as a rookie. That wouldn't surprise me.
Something tells me that the lack of elite talent at wide receiver in rookie drafts is going to push Ibuka up because he's so safe that people are going to start double counting his, above average trade.
I mean, same thing in the class in general. I think it's going to drive the top 4-ish receivers up in the NFL draft. Like I think we'll end up seeing these guys go earlier than we expected because there isn't a lot of talent outside of. I mean, you could argue 4, but let's just say 6 guys, 7 guys.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah, I mean,
oh god.
No, I was going to say Ibuka's speed at his size though is going to be, I think, a talking point because I mean, if he comes in above 200, what is he listed at?
6'1", 203 is what it says.
203. I mean that looks right.
Yeah, they're projecting a 4.42, but I don't really see that.
4.42, really?
4.42 would be.
That's what Player Profiler's projecting. Yeah, if he does that, then he'll probably be a top 15 NFL pick.
Top 15, really? You think?
Yeah, I think he'll argue. Like I said, man, this class is not what we want to see.
I mean, I think 4.42 is fair.
Yeah, I didn't see a ton of top end. Is my only statement there. I mean, he gave it to you horizontally on the field, I guess, and that's more quickness. I didn't see a ton of top end from what I watched.
I saw a lot of straight line speed. I like a lot, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, I see it. I think he's. I just think he's fast. I think he's fast. I mean, I'm not even saying like it's out of the realm of possibility. He's like high 4.3s.
Okay.
Which might be a hot take, but I think he's really fast. Is there any tracking numbers out on him?
Like I said, the only thing that's come up, Player Profiler has it at 4.42 projected off of tracking.
Off of tracking, okay.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything that show him hitting high like 21 mile an hour or anything. The quickest I saw was 21.2, which is it'll get you in the 4.4s if you can do that. I didn't see anything higher than that.
A lot of that stuff's in underlocking key too.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. That'll be a fun watch in the combine for sure.
Oh yeah, he's gonna dominate the drills at the combine.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, and worth mentioning that he's good versus both zone and man. He can definitely beat both. And I don't want to get off this conversation without mentioning the hands. They're so good.
Oh yeah, and late hands, so good.
The catch radius is like he's got long arms. He's when you say skilled, he's really skilled in his route running, but also just positioning his body and coming down with the ball.
Yeah, I mean he's a complete receiver that we're going to see in this class.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I'd feel comfortable spending the 108, 109 on him.
Yeah, that's where. I mean, it'll depend on where running backs go.
Yeah,
and tight end and
assuming,
but yeah,
assuming I need a wide receiver, it's reasonable landing spot.
I think I'm going to have a ton of shares of him, to be honest with you, because I'd probably be willing to take him in the 105 range, just because I think he's so safe. I think he's so safe.
I'm not saying I wouldn't take him there. That's just kind of not where I'm thinking about him right now. But
yeah,
there's so much to go.
Yeah, there's a lot of time left, and it's definitely going to depend on where he goes in the draft and what team he ends up on. But just as far as his skill set goes, like I said, he's not anything that's insane value, generational kind of player, but he's a guy that I think is going to be around for a long time, and those guys are hard to come across in the NFL out of rookie drafts. So
hell, I don't even know who my RB2 is yet.
Me neither.
Chad, can I take one guess at your wide receiver too?
Oh, I was going to.
Okay, go ahead. You do it first.
Trey Harris.
That was my guess.
No.
Oh.
He's lying.
If it's not Travis Hunter, then you've got a very bold
It's
take.
Travis Hunter.
Oh, sure.
Well, he's a cornerback, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's not
until he's
considered a
drafted.
receiver.
Until he's drafted, I'm calling him a wide receiver.
Right now, we're having to go cornerback. That's what the information we're given.
Until he's drafted by a team and they list him as a cornerback, I'm counting him as a wide receiver.
I mean, if he's a wide receiver, he's my wide receiver 1.
Yeah, he's my wide receiver 2, but yeah, we'll see.
I think he's got if he dedicated himself to wide receiver only, he's got the talent to be an elite, like all pro wide receiver talent in the league.
I think Ted. So for me personally, I think Ted's a better player than him. But Ted's my kind of player, so.
Gotcha.
Who was the one more player you wanted, Jesse? I'll tell you yes or no if we can talk about him.
The one more player. Man, you want to do Colson?
Who did you want?
You gonna do Colson Loveland?
Yeah, we can. I don't care. I haven't deep dove into him deep. Well, you know what I'm saying. I haven't.
We're just doing it. Yeah, we're just doing an overview. Chad, how about you? Okay with that?
Doing who?
Colston Loveland, Michigan tight end.
Sure.
All right.
Well, y'all start while I pull up his stats and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I picked him because the next couple guys, I think we'll do 4 profiles next week, actually. I want to do the Texas wide receivers versus the Ohio State running backs, since we haven't done any of those guys. But those are like the 4 guys on my mind right now, to be honest with you.
All right. He is 20 years old currently. Will be 21 when the season starts. 6'5", 245. All 3 years at Michigan. Nothing crazy stat wise, which is kind of the knock people give on him. But if you watch the tape, the dude's first round talent tight end. Like I said, I haven't watched much tape, so I'm gonna let Jesse start on the tape, and I'll give my broad thoughts. So go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, I really love him as a receiver. I mean, the kid's got a nice wingspan. They're very athletic. I think he's going to test exceptionally well. He's definitely going to test himself into the first round. And if he goes to the right place, San Diego, or I guess they're not in San Diego anymore, but if he goes to the Chargers, everybody's going to be wheels up and, in love with this player. If we were going to compare him to like the big tight end class 2 years ago, I'd have him probably above Trey McBride. Or no, I'm sorry. Dalton Kincaid. Trey McBride was 3 years ago.
Okay. I haven't watched enough to say that, but
as a receiver, I'd have him above both of those guys. I would say he's like reminds me of Sam Darnold as a receiver, but he's a much better blocker.
What?
What does that mean?
What are you talking? Sam Darnold as a receiver?
Laporta. Okay. Laporta. I'm so sorry.
I was like, my man done hit me with Redskins, San Diego, and Darnold at tight end.
I thought you were going like real, like real up in the clouds analysis here. I thought you were saying like, oh, he's like a Sam Darnold storyline as a tight end. I was like, where are we going with this, man?
No. As a receiver, I like him. I like him. He reminds me of Laporta. Chad, what do you think? Get me off.
Yeah, I think he's a really good athlete. It's going to be interesting to see what he does at the combine. I'm not on the train that he's going to test out of this world as far as numbers go. But just his athleticism on the field, speaks for itself. So I don't think it really matters much. He's and when I say that, I don't think he's going to be like a Theo Johnson or something where he's going to run like 4.55 or something like that. But yeah, he's a crazy athlete. Jimmy Graham, maybe.
Jimmy Graham was insane as an athlete coming in.
Yeah, no, he's a really, really good athlete. I think the projections I'm seeing on his 40s like 4.7, which sounds right. Okay. That's fast for tight end at his weight. So. That's fast. Yeah, that's fast. But it's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna do like crazy tight ends speed and
Right.
who knows how many drills he's actually going to do because tight ends are doing fewer and fewer drills. Well, everybody is, but I think if he does does well, it's going to be in like the cone drills are going to be pretty impressive, I imagine. But him as a player, when you get down to it, it's just like the prototypical. We're going to hear everybody talk about basketball player tight end because that's what he is.
I was just about to ask you if he ever played basketball.
Yeah. That's what's going to be the talking point with him is he's just an athletic in the paint tight end is what they're gonna say. But it's right. He's a fun player to watch. So
yeah, and as far as the blocking goes, I mean he's a little better than Laporta, but I mean Laporta couldn't block anybody coming out. It was a little surprising that they just decided to ignore that, really, and just not use him that way. So if that happens with Loveland, that'd be nice.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I did want to add, route running is pretty incredible. He's a really good route runner already. So that's
agreed. He's not the kind of guy that you just have to like hope he gets open against zone. He can definitely match up and get open against linebackers and safeties, that kind of thing. Kind of like a Dallas Goedert.
Oh God! I hope he's better than him for fantasy.
Well, I hope he's not Dallas Goedert.
I mean, if he was a healthy Dallas Goedert, that'd be wonderful.
Is there such thing?
We'll just call it a better Dallas Goedert. If he was a better Dallas Goedert.
Okay. All right. Besides,
if he just wasn't Dallas Goedert but was better, that'd be good.
Besides the former Michigan head coach, is there anywhere else you'd like to see him go?
Carolina.
Didn't you just
me being a fandom? It was in the 4th.
Yeah, but give that guy a shot. Give him a shot. He's a good player.
JT Sanders.
Hey, I just want talent, and he's talented. So
yeah, no, he's really talented. He's really talented.
I mean, there's a lot of places that I would be totally fine with him going for fantasy. I mean,
you really think Panthers in the position to take a tight end in the first round?
Yeah, they need talent all around the board. I would much prefer Tyler Warren for the Panthers, but yeah, they need talent everywhere. I'm not gonna, outside of them taking Genty or a quarterback, I'm really not gonna scoff at them taking anybody in the first. As long as they're good.
You know who I think has a pretty decent shot at taking him, and I would be very upset if they did.
Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is everybody projecting a tight end to the Colts? What am I missing there?
Well, they tried really hard to get Bowers last year.
Mm-hmm.
The year before that, I don't remember the tight end, but they tried really hard to get him and missed him by a couple picks.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, and I think Tyler Warren's going to be gone before then.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so that's the end of him.
We've talked him up and killed him off in the same podcast.
Colston Loveland, nice knowing you, buddy. All right, we've got a few minutes left. Let's talk some running backs. We have some projected free agents here. The big issue is that we think that with this talented rookie class coming in, that these guys are just going to get drafted over even after they sign.
Yeah.
So let's go through the list real quick. Aaron Jones.
Sure.
Yeah.
I thought we were going through the list. How about we name some guys?
Okay. Aaron Jones, Javonte, Najee, Dobbins, probably Swift. And, I mean, Ben Johnson already traded Swift away once, right? I don't think he's going to go to a new team and automatically like him. And I don't know if you care about Gainwell or Chad's favorite, Amir Abdullah.
Isn't Nick Chubb a free agent too?
Nick Chubb, but fine. I mean, he's completely washed.
I mean, if you're going to name Kenneth Gainwell, I'm going to name Nick Chubb.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
I think that's fair.
So, with any of these guys, is there a chance that would you give a second round pick for any of them? Like a mid-second?
I mean, I don't have to right now, but so no.
No.
Maybe once free agency settles, maybe one or two of them I'd be interested in.
Yeah.
But right now, no, I'm not really wanting to trade for any of these. I would love to sell any of them for a mid-second currently.
Yeah. Will you be able to get these guys for a late second?
I think so.
I think you can get any of them right now for a late second.
Najee's probably the hardest one to acquire right now for a second, just because he's put up 1,000 yards every year in the NFL.
Yeah.
Everybody hates him, but a late second is still like I would probably pay a late second for Najee, to be honest.
What about
I'd
Dobbins?
probably pay a mid second for Najee.
Yeah. Dobbins re-signing with the Chargers.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I'm feeling much better. Dobbins going somewhere else scares me a little bit, but it just depends on where that somewhere else is.
Dude, every single one of those guys can lose their job.
Yeah,
this
quick.
year.
It seems like they're all going to.
Yeah, it's a scary time to have any of those guys.
Right. Yeah, I think if you can get off these guys for any kind of second round pick, future like 27 second, do it in a heartbeat. Is there any belief that Swift is going to find another situation where he's going to be productive at all?
I mean,
Yeah, it could
of course
happen.
it's possible. He's talented enough, but I
Yeah.
mean,
Just seems to never work out for him.
yeah, that is true.
Aaron Jones, I guess the best situation for him would just be to re-sign with the Vikings.
Yeah, that would be
Mhm.
ideal, and them not to draft a early day 2 guy.
Right. Re-sign Aaron Jones and then take a later guy to complement him.
Yeah.
God, I'm so bored with this conversation already.
I'm trying to bring up the running back tier and see if there's any guys or anybody y'all wanting to buy in the running back landscape. Any level, and obviously not the free agents, but are there any of them you feel like his price is too low? I need to acquire.
Yeah, I guess Etienne.
Yeah, that's a good name.
That's a good one.
What do you think I can get him for?
I mean, he'll probably a mid to early second.
I think that's a good buy. That guy's way too talented not to be used by a smart coach.
Yeah, Keep Trade Cut has him as a right below 25 mid second.
Beautiful. Yeah, there's your target. I would guess that Tank Bigsby is probably more expensive than him.
Not on here, but that doesn't mean anything in leagues. They are very close. They're 7 spots apart in the running back and draft pick thing, so not very far apart.
I mean, they will steal from each other, but I think there's enough. I've always thought Etienne was the more talented player.
Yeah, I mean, he had a terrible year. You don't go from putting up a top 5 number to just non-existent. Like there's got to be talent somewhere.
Yeah, their entire offense was just a disgusting mess last year. He got Doug Peterson.
My buy last year was James Conner. And my buy this offseason is his teammate, Trey Benson. Obviously, depending on where you can get him, if you can get him for dirt cheap, then go out there and try to do it, because this is James Conner's team once again. But, who knows for how long that's going to last. And everybody is not very excited about the prospects of Benson. But I'll take a free-ish swipe at him. So I think
not to burst your bubble, Trey Benson is in between Travis Etienne and James Conner on Keep Trade Cut.
Really?
I was shocked. I was scrolling down, and then I realized, well, maybe I went too far and went back up.
I feel like
that sounds wrong to me. Yeah.
Easily get him for a late second.
Yeah.
Easily. For guys, like if you paid an early second for him last year, saw him get no run, scared of that share of him that you have, someone offers you a late second in a deep running back class, you can get that done easily.
Well, I'm pretty sure we said that like a month ago that we would take a late second for him.
Yeah. I think if I'm acquiring a share of him, it's for a third and something on top.
Yeah, if you can get him for that, it's definitely a good buy.
Yeah, and as the class, as the draft rolls around and people get excited over this new class and all these new guys coming out. I think that's more. I think it's more than a realistic scenario.
It was so crazy how running back stayed healthy last year. It was.
You're going to keep saying it until you jinx it the other way.
Well, it's already done. It's gone. It's not going to happen again. We already know the guys are going to get busted up. Just the fact that James Conner had his first full healthy season at the age of what, 28, 29 is miraculous. It
means about to be 30.
Yeah, 10% chance.
A couple months away.
Yeah.
There's 10% chance that happens again.
Yeah. What do you guys think about Blake Corum?
You know how it is. I think he's a very talented back behind another very talented back.
I'm fine throwing a third at him.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely. I mean, but if you're going to say that, then you have to kind of do the same thing for Braylon Allen.
I don't, though.
Why?
One, I think Brees is better. Two, I think Braylon's not that good. I know that might be a hot take, but
I think Braylon's good. The Jets' offense being a mess and not having a quarterback.
I mean, again, I'll throw a third at him, but I don't think a single third gets it done for Allen. We saw too much popping on the tape this year.
Yeah, and he went for a third last year, and he's only, 21? He's going to be 21.
Yeah.
And then who is the other guy? I guess Jalen Wright.
No, thank you.
No? Why?
No, any of the other guys, I'd rather just take the rookies.
Mostert's already gone.
They could spend another third round, fourth round pick on a running back, and I might like him more.
What do you think about Jalen Wright, Chad?
Sure.
I
mean, like I said, I don't make a habit of buying backup running backs. So if I can get them super cheap, and there's no other players I'm interested in getting, I think it's always tough because when the NFL draft rolls around, there's always going to be that player you can get late that probably deserves a little bit higher capital. They're just not getting the pull in the dynasty community. And it's tough taking a Jalen Wright, Blake Corum, any of those guys we just talked about, Trey Benson, over those kind of players. But if there aren't any of those kind of players in this class, then sure, why not? Throw a late.
Dylan Sampson or Jalen Wright.
Sampson.
Okay, he's considerably below on KTC. Devin Neal is below Jalen Wright on KTC.
Yeah, that makes sense because Jalen Wright's already shown a little something in the NFL, and he's on an electric offense. They just cut Mostert. He's got the more juice, but he's not the better player. And at this point, Dylan Sampson could land behind somebody more durable than.
Would you trade Aaron Jones for Jalen Wright?
Yeah.
Yes, in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I would trade any of those, except for maybe. I would trade any of those free agent running backs that we were just talking about for Jalen Wright, just to get a reroll.
Is there a running back that you guys currently have on any rosters where you're like, I need to get rid of this guy while he has some semblance of value?
Pacheco.
Yeah, that's a really
Pacheco
good name.
Scares the shit out of me. Tank Bigsby. The hype seemed to get out of control on him.
I'd like to fish Chase Brown just to see how high I could get a value back, just to take some safety. Like I'd love to get like a 109. I don't think that's unrealistic.
Yeah, I think that's.
I think a lot of people see him as a top 12 running back.
Yeah, I would love to try to do that.
I got 109 for him during the playoffs at one place. So something like that. It was something around like 109 one time.
That's a play. That's an interesting play because that is one that I can see really coming back to haunt you for a while.
It absolutely could.
But it could also be one where he gets. It just logically doesn't make any sense for them to draft over him. But you never know, right? it's one of those things. They're not paying him much. They've got other fish to fry, so to speak. There at other positions. So it doesn't really make sense, but we've seen crazy things happen. We've seen, Charbonnet's getting drafted behind Walker's in the second round, right?
Yeah.
That was the second round, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was.
So.
Yeah, and that's why people would take Jalen Wright over a Dylan Sampson, because what if Dylan Sampson gets drafted behind Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry or something,
Yeah, kind of like how Jalen Wright's behind Devin Achane.
Yeah, but that could be more of a split in his second year.
Yeah, could be.
And if there is any backup running back to have in the NFL, it is the Dolphins backup running back.
Right.
That is true.
Exactly.
That's a fair point.
But for me, and I don't have any shares of this guy, but if I did, man, I'd be trying to take anything I could get, and that's Rachaad White.
I think that train's left the station, man.
Yeah, I think you're praying for a late second.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give that for him.
Well, yeah, but you've also always hated him, so even when he was
I'd
a
rather-
top 5 guy, you were like, he's not very good. I'm like, but he's producing.
I'd rather give a couple fourths for my boy Sean Tucker.
Yeah, Rachaad White's one of those guys that, like, if you don't watch the games, you're like, oh yeah, Rachaad White. But then you watch him
Right.
consistently, and you're like,
Exactly.
okay, so there's nothing to this guy. Like, he's just a solid. He's just a solid player that is strictly volume dependent.
Yeah.
So to prove how low he is, he's below Jalen Wright on Keep Track.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's crazy.
Well, I mean, Bucky Irving is a top 10 dynasty running back.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I will tell you another guy that I think is it would be really smart to unload right now would be Saquon. He's never going to be this valuable again. I said this in our chat the other day, and no one responded to me and said, "Hey, Jesse, yeah, I agree. You're really smart. Like you should have." But
that probably is a reason.
I think that there's not a tremendous chance that Saquon repeats that season. I think he's got maybe a 50-50 chance, maybe 60% chance to.
I would say it's 30% chance to repeat personally.
Well, I mean, I don't mean even repeat those numbers, but just to be on a points per game fantasy basis.
I think it's very unlikely he's RB1 again.
Too many things can go wrong.
I think it's literally up to health. If he stays healthy, I think it's not out of the realm of possibility. He tops what he did last season.
It's not just his health though.
It's just his health, man.
So
it's just
if
his health.
something happens to Hurts, it's the same thing. If something,
I mean,
in fact, it's worse.
If something happens to Hurts, who's not to say, yeah, maybe he's far less efficient, but maybe he gets a lot more production. I mean, a lot more volume. It's not like he got a crazy amount of volume.
I guess you don't understand Philadelphia and our history and just how certain it is that he will get hurt this coming season.
I'm sorry, Super Bowl champ. We feel so bad for you.
Okay. So yeah, for me it's down to health. If he's able to stay healthy, then he's a guy I want on every roster.
He played 21 games at a ridiculously high volume level. I think there's a good chance he gets hurt.
Genty or Saquon?
Genty.
Your answer was different a month ago, by the way.
That was different. It was a different
Just
time.
letting you know.
I had a different juice running through my veins in those days, buddy.
Chad?
Genty pretty easily, but that's just because Saquon's 28 years old. But I mean, it's one of those things too. Like it's also team dependent. If I've got a team that I think is a championship team, then maybe there's a scenario where I'd rather have Saquon.
I'm still probably going to pivot to Genty, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I would too. Yeah, I guess it depends on my roster, like Chad said. Like if it's a bunch of older guys, sure, but if I'm just a competitive team, like a top 2 team, I'm probably still taking Genty.
If I think I can replace Saquon other ways, I guess I don't know.
I mean, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
in the future, if I have depth on my roster, I think somebody else can step up if Saquon gets hurt or something like that. But
Is that as low as y'all are going on Saquon? You wouldn't take A-Chain?
I would
Yeah.
not take. I would not take a cheat. But obviously, I'd take Gibbs or Bijan. But that's
Yeah.
Anybody would do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I would not take Jonathan Taylor, James Cook. Yeah, it's probably. I would not take Bucky. Am I missing any other obvious top running backs?
Yeah.
Kyron.
Kyron and Brees would be the only 2 other names that would even be questionable.
Yeah, no.
Cool.
All right.
I will say one thing though.
Sure.
I will say one thing.
Just one thing.
Yeah.
If I can give up Saquon Barkley on a championship team, right? If I can give up Saquon Barkley and get Josh Jacobs in a first, I'd do it.
Yeah, I think I would too. I like that. I think that's a smart investment.
I'd want it to be 106 or above.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine with anything to the probably 108 range, but
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, something that's not super late. I think Josh Jacobs is capable of, if he looked really good, and he just looked good. And
I've always
I think
loved
that Green Bay offense is going to be pretty similar to what it was last year.
I've always loved Jacobs. I've always thought he's had top 5 potential his entire career. That's why I have a ton of them, by the way. All right, guys, you watching anything besides Succession? I mean, I keep doing that. Severance. Everything is Severance all the time.
I know the episode hadn't come out yet. I watched Duke win again.
Yeah.
Congrats.
No, that's about it.
Yeah, just Severance.
Yeah. I don't think I've been playing Pokemon Red all my free time.
Anything coming out that you're excited for?
Knicks play the 76ers tomorrow.
Oh my God, that's disgusting. Go. I mean, congrats to your fellas.
Oh man. Well, I don't know. We just got our asses kicked by the Cavs, and then
No, the Sixers are literally the worst team in the NBA right now.
Yeah,
they've lost 8 straight.
I don't know,
2
bro.
of them to the Nets.
Charlotte hasn't scored 100 points in like 4 games.
We lost to Charlotte, so
that is true.
I'm looking forward to the new King of the Hill season. Were you guys King of the Hill fans?
Nope. I don't know if
There's
I've
a
ever
new
watched a
King of
full
the Hill
episode
season?
through.
Yes, there's a new King of the Hill season coming out. Bobby Hill's all grown up. He's a chef, so I'm really excited. I love that show.
So it's you.
I look a little like Bobby Hill. Anything else? Anything else going on?
I don't think so.
All right, lots of prospects next week. This has
Let's
been
do
more
it. Go Combine.